Now, back to the last 7 days.
It's called the Great Tornado of the Northwest. Great Tornado.
Realize that back then you didn't have the warning systems we have now. They were probably surprised by it. They didn't have no idea.
Depending on the source, this tornado or family of tornadoes claimed nearly 140 lives and injured about 300 until this time, and this is until the tri-state tornado. The Great Tornado of the Northwest claimed more farmers than any other tornado in history. To this day, Comanche tornado ranks one of the worst tornado disasters this country has ever seen.
Wow. Jeez.
Like I was telling you, if I metal detect, in Comanche, I find, various pieces of odd junk, rusty metal and stuff.
Oh, probably still leftovers from blowing around, huh?
I guess. I got a couple of original articles that were from the original articles about the tornado, and that's how I knew about the raft. It's actually 24 men and 2 women, according to this article. I wonder how many people lived in, they say 900 people in Albany. Always 1,500 in Comanche. 1,500. 1,500. I wonder how many people died in the 2 towns and what the populations were. Well, they said 140 total. 140 total for the tornado. So it was 1,500 for Comanche and 900, did you say, for Albany? 2,400.
I didn't think there was
any really for no warning. Yeah. That's not nearly as bad as I would have expected to be. It was tracked over 200 miles. Okay, they say that it was at least a 2, but I think it was probably more like a 3 or 4.
I would think it would have been a 3 or 4.
But they said it was a 2 plus. But this is just like a little part of the track. At Mechanicsville, it demolished everything in its course, killing 16 people. In Mechanicsville. Near Onion Grove, which I'm not sure where that's at. Probably Loudon or one of those towns. Near Onion Grove, 15 people were killed. Passing south, the DeWitt had killed 27 people. Wow. 16 on the farm of Thomas Hatfield. 16. There was a family of 18, if I'm not mistaken. Then it passed south of Ramazda, which I'm guessing may be Malone, destroyed a house of David Millard, and killing him and a portion of his family. And then it goes on to talk about when it hits Comanche. All was over in less than 3 minutes. Not a single business building remains standing in town, and scarcely a house is left in habitable condition. The greater portion of the people killed, this is, if you notice, you read these old news stories, you wonder, like, are these really true or not? Because, but anyhow, I wonder about this. But anyhow, the greater portion of people killed were in brick houses in Comanche. Wow. Many sought shelter in the cellars and wooden buildings, and in every such instance, though the buildings were demolished, the persons were saved. Wow. That's kind of interesting. A large lumber raft from the Chippewa River, which has to be like Wapsie or Bach or something.
Well, if you waited,
change names.
If you're underground, you'd be alright.
Manned by a crew of 21 men and having 2 women on board, being opposite Comanche, was completely scattered. 21 men and 1 woman was lost. And this is from the Janesville Daily Gazette from Janesville, Wisconsin. Wow. But anyhow, I just thought that 155 years ago today.
I figure you had to
One of the largest tornadoes.
send a reporter down, be a horse's buggy or something.
I know that, what was it? I should know this. There was a tornado outbreak in April of sometime maybe in the early 70s that killed the most. It had the most tornadoes. I'm going to say that it had 400 tornadoes in it. You know, and a single outbreak of tornadoes, which is, I think, the biggest one and the most deadly one, maybe. And as you mentioned, you know, the old ones are up there for deadly because there's no warning. You know? Because you had no warning. And what saved Albany is they saw Comanche being destroyed, and they were able to take shelter. You know.
Yeah, I suppose, you know, in those days, people weren't traveling a lot. I mean, yeah, they traveled, but not like today. Yeah, at any given time, you know, look at all the cars that are on the road. So it would be, and a lot more people too. Something like that happened today, it would be even more devastating, even with early warning all that.
Yeah, but the other thing about this is in a car you can get away with hitting. Lots of times tornadoes only go 50 miles an hour at top speed.
Yeah. It stayed on the ground for 200 miles.
200 miles.
That's a long time.
Yeah, usually it is.
Long distance.
Yeah. Huh. 200 miles. Because it goes from like Cedar Rapids all the way out to Como, you know, Como, which is outside of Morrison. It went to what that town that just got hit here recently. It went to and here's what it says. In summary, according to the National Weather Service Quad City Forecast Office, the most devastating part of the supercell tracked over 200 miles from New Providence, Iowa, to near Sheboda. Its forward speed was around 50 miles an hour. And this is another article. It was by Amboy. So, which just got hit kind of here lately when I was on vacation out in California. That big one was by Amboy. So,
yeah,
gives you that kind of idea. Out by Dixon, out by Dixon, going that far from by Cedar Rapids.
That's a long way.
Yeah, you couldn't get away by car until probably. I guess you could go just, maybe the opposite direction, but,
Well, the whole thing is
until the 1930s, because cars didn't go that fast.
Right, exactly. And everything was going east to west. We ever get devastated here in Clinton, maybe a tornado coming from the east probably.
Snowstorms and really bad weather. It comes from the east.
Well, it comes west to east, yeah. It comes from this direction.
Well,
we had to come from Cedar Rapids.
Yeah.
But when we get really nasty weather, it seems like it comes from the east going to the west.
I'll tell you what, I learned when I was young to not do what they say. They say if you see a tornado pull over and lay down in a ditch.
Yeah. Which I always had a problem
on the
with
highway with the tornado, and we could feel the wind lifting up the back end of the car. Keep moving.
Yeah.
You don't want to stop.
Fly, baby, fly.
I've actually, just a few years ago, I actually outran a tornado out by the wood. But if you take the history of most all the tornadoes in this area go from west to east. Some of them go from southwest to northeast. Some of them go this way.
Yeah.
But most all of them go this way.
Because what I learned in weather class when I was in college, it's all westward winds.
Yeah.
Everything goes west to east.
What happens is the cold air comes from Canada, and then you have the west winds coming west. And then from the southwest, you have dry wind coming, and that's low pressure. The cold weather.
Low pressure.
Canada is high pressure, and then you have the Gulf winds coming this direction in the United States, and about somewhere around Oklahoma, Kansas, in that area, they all four of those things come together. Some are like the Southwest is dry, low pressure. Canada is wet, high pressure, and then there's the winds that come from the west, and then the low pressure water that comes up from the southeast all converge, and then it starts spinning.
And that's why that area is Tornado Alley.
And if it changes, it's like a spot that it can change. That's where they converge together, can change.
Yeah, that's why it's Tornado Alley.
Oklahoma, Kansas.
Yeah, that's Tornado Alley.
Panhandle.
That's where it most commonly converges at.
Uh-huh.
But that spot can change. It can move around, And that produces the supercells. But
Wasn't the whole Midwest known as Tornado Alley, not just like Oklahoma and Texas and all that?
yeah, it is.
Just one little bit of other history that's a little different but kind of tied together is, most people call the places that Indians used to dwell in as teepees, T-E-E-P-E-E. But the real name is tipi, T-I-P-I. That's what the Indians called them.
Tippy.
Right, because they tipped into the west. And the eastern side had the poles were longer, so when they put those things up, they would tie 3 poles together and then run a rope down, and those poles were set down into the ground, and the rope was then tied to the ground. They had wooden stake, that they would put in and tie it down. Well, then the other poles just leaned up against it. But how they did it was, towards the west would be like this, but towards the east would be like that. And they would stand up in a terrific wind. If it came from the west, I don't know what happened. It came from the east.
Yeah. That's it.
Because we came from the east, it would catch it.
That's it.
The lower poles was designed to hold it. It provided
to hold
strength.
it. Right.
Because the wind would be coming from this way. Yeah, that makes sense. That's interesting.
So they said that they would stand up in, 100-mile-an-hour wind, but of course a tornado would be
More than that.
anyway.
Yeah.
It would be 300. Depends on the F scale.
Of course, they didn't make them out of canvas originally. They were buffalo hides. And then on the inside, you had that on the outside, but on the inside it was tied, I don't know exactly how high, probably about 4 feet, maybe 5 feet high, another curtain. So it would protect quite a bit. That way, like enemy Indians came, and you had your fire inside, they couldn't see where you were at because the inside curtain, stopped the light from going straight to the outside.
Well, would there be any light coming through a buffalo skin?
Well, that's what I kind of wonder too. Maybe later they used something that was lighter weight that people could see through. But and they also had that there. They used to say that the Indians dwelled in their chimney because the outside skirt, it had loops around it, where it would tight down. But the air would come in and it would hit that other curtain and shoot it up so that it would draw the smoke out. Oh. But anyhow.
Fascinating.
Gladys and Briganol, Loban, the Great Plains Teepee or something like that. It's pretty interesting one.
Fascinating.
Obama